This video is a complement to video 1 of 5, which was entitled Arctic Sea Ice has reached a 10-year high. I received good comments from 2 colleagues, and I decided to make this short complementary video to clarify a few things. I'm very critical of climate-related news spread out by the big media of being misleading, and I want to avoid making a similar mistake. The fact is that the title of the video, Arctic Sea Ice has reached a 10-year high, relates to the maximum sea ice extent occurred in the month of February this year, as compared with the month of February of the past 10 years. It does not correspond to an overall assessment. I believe that was clear in the video, but to make it even more clear, let us further the analysis a bit. In the earlier video, I presented this figure showing that the sea ice extent has decreased since its last peak in 1979. The plot shows sea ice area using data from the U.S. National Snow and Ice Data Center, NSIDC, both monthly and the 13-month average. The red line represents average from 1979 until 2019. 1979 is considered the onset of sea ice satellite monitoring, even though satellite data goes back earlier than that. So yes, taking 1979 as baseline means sea ice extent has been steadily dropping in the past 41 years. The area covered by sea ice is defined as having at least 15% sea ice cover. The NSCID has lots of resources online, and one of them is an interactive display that allows us to see and compare sea ice values using different colors. We can see that a maximum extent is reached during winter around March and a minimum in summer around September. The arrow in the figure highlights the extent so far this year, 2020. The comparison I made was for the month of February. The sea ice extent in February 2020 is larger than the same value of February in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2019, and similar in 2018, and similar to year 2013. That is good news. On the other hand, if we compare the February 2020 ice extent C with mean values, we will see that it is larger than the 2011-2019 average. It is marginally close to the 2001-2010 average, but it is smaller than the 1991-2000, 1979-1990, and most importantly, smaller than the 1981-2010 mean value. This is a situation that observations tell us for the past 41 years. The monitoring of the variation in extent of sea ice predates 1979, considered the beginning of the continuous satellite monitoring. Scientists have been monitoring it using the tools they had available, such as hydrographic surveys and commercial ship observations of summer ice edge. Yes, they would do these measurements in the summer when it was warmer, not as cold. In the previous video, I mentioned a study published by Polyakov and others. Here, I'm presenting maps published in 1926, 1938, and 1952. Even though certainly not as thorough in coverage as satellite observations, the brave Arctic scientists of the past gave us important information covering a longer period of time. I like that. In geophysics, we like to look at longer time spans. Here we have 2 figures. On the left, it is from a 1985 U.S. Department of Energy report, which already wanted to understand climatic effects due to increasing CO2. It shows the variation of sea ice extent since 1925 based on a work by Vinnikov and others. The figure shows annual mean and mean computed based on 5 years. It shows that sea ice extent was very low in the 1940s and 1950s. On the right is a figure from an early IPCC report with similar quantities. I stretched this plot a bit to equate the vertical scales. We can see that the maximum peak in Arctic sea ice occurred in 1979, the baseline year used by NSCID. It is not surprising that the period since 1979 shows a negative trend. We will have to wait and see if the so far failed catastrophic predictions of the end of the polar cap will happen, or if Mother Nature will continue to play her tricks. And let me make myself clear, we need to fight pollution, the real one, for the simple reason that this is the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil on which we grow our food. We cannot poison them.